Hi, this is Jason from the QuickBooks team. With Intuit Enterprise Suite, you can record expenses and allocate them so they appear in the financial statements for other companies. We'll go over how to set up intercompany account mapping for allocations, and then you'll see how to allocate expenses to multiple companies. Select Multi-Entity, Overview. Then select Intercompany Account Mapping. First, select the source company you want to map accounts for. In a transaction that has allocations, the source company is the company that spent the funds. Select Add New, and select the name of a company it may need to allocate to. QuickBooks calls this a target company. Enter the account the source company uses to track what the target company owes from allocations and intercompany transactions. Usually this is an asset account. If you don't have an account for this, select Add New to set it up. Enter the account the target company uses to track what they owe to the source company. Usually this is a liability account. If you don't have an account for this, you can also select Add New to set it up. Set up all of your companies, and when you're finished, select Done. After you've set up your account mapping, you can allocate transactions to affect the books of other businesses. Let's enter an expense this company paid that should also affect the other companies. Select New, Expense. Though you'll see this process on an expense transaction, the process is the same for a bill or check. Enter who this company paid. Then enter how you paid the expense and the date you paid it. Enter accounts that represent what you paid for. Note that you can only allocate expense, cost of goods sold, and other expense type accounts. And then enter the dollar value for each account. When you've entered all the accounts and dollar amounts, select Allocate. Currently, QuickBooks allocates 100% of the expenses to the source company. To change that, select Allocate. Select all of the companies you want to allocate expenses to. Select this checkbox to allocate the expenses evenly across all the selected companies. If you don't select this, you can specify dollar amounts and percentages next. Select Save. Select the Category drop-down and select how you want to allocate it in the target company, and how much you want to allocate it as a percentage or dollar amount. Enter the remaining info for your allocations, and then Save Allocation. QuickBooks saves the transaction and allocations. If you ever need to edit the transaction, you'll first need to select View Allocation and then delete the allocation. Note that this transaction still shows the original expense accounts you entered for the source company. That's normal, because QuickBooks creates separate journal entries to account for the allocations. Close the transaction. If you've already entered an expense check or bill, you can edit it to include allocations. Just go to the transaction and select Allocate. Note that in order to do this, you must use an expense or cost of goods sold account for the transactions category. You can also allocate expenses on transactions you receive from your bank and credit cards. Go to Transactions, Bank Transactions. Select the transaction in which you spent money, and select Add and Allocate to allocate from here instead. Now you're ready to set up intercompany account mapping and allocate expenses across multiple companies in Intuit Enterprise Suite.